This presentation is so critical to everything that we have just listened to. It speaks to how to run a successful startup, And this will be delivered by the founder and chief executive officer at Terragon Group. I'll be inviting him up very shortly. Terragon Group is the leading data and marketing cloud company in Africa, which helps brand intelligently deliver more meaningful experiences to African consumers on mobile. Our speaker, for over 13 years, has steered the company through its evolution from a digital agency to Africa's foremost SaaS, which is software as a service company, with development of proprietary, patented technology solutions, successful acquisition of a software company in Bangalore in 2018, and strategic partnerships with global technology and indigenous companies, including Meta, Microsoft, MTN, Nigerian Breweries, just to mention a few. Please let's make welcome for the final presentation today, Umeh, the founder and CEO of Terragon Group. A round of applause for him. He'll be speaking to us on how to run a successful startup, growing a successful startup. Thank you very much. We're truly honored that you're here today with us on the second day of the Zenith Tech Fair for 2023. Over to you, sir.
I have a video. How do I play it?
Okay. Just tell them. Okay. Just tell them to cue your video.
Good afternoon. Thanks to the board management at Zenith Bank for having me. When Mr. Tope asked me to do this, I told him I have not yet delivered the company. But I reflected back on my 21 years working in technology. And I said, maybe it's a good, maybe I should do it, right? And I got back to him and I told him, by all means. And what did I reflect on? I reflected on getting out of university. I went to Lagos State University. I studied business administration. And after that, I joined a startup called MTech. Some of us here would know the company. We sold ringtones, and it became fairly successful. And after MTech, I helped the World Bank understand M-Pesa, which launched in East Africa in 2008. So they wanted to understand, essentially, USSD banking. I did that policy framework for them for about a year. And after doing that, I launched a business called Twimpine, which was pioneering mobile advertising, which we sold the tech to a South African agency group in 2016 before I launched, or we evolved to Terragon. Terragon is a component, or was a component, of the Twimpine business, so it evolved. Everything, I think that this context sets the stage for some of the things I'm going to say this afternoon. And please permit me to crave my indulgence for maybe about 12 minutes. I'll try to do this very quickly. It's a challenge to be speaking before lunch, but we'll try to do it as fast as possible, just like technology, right? Please, can you play this video? Who has seen the movie Shawshank Redemption? It's a classic. Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman. Can this be played, please? It's a very short clip. But Shawshank Redemption is a movie that I watch frequently.
A man nobody ever laid eyes on before strolled into the Maine National Bank. Until that moment, he didn't exist, except on paper.
May I help you?
He had all the proper ID, driver's license, birth certificate, social security card, and the signature was a spot-on match.
I must say, I'm sorry to be losing your business. I hope you'll enjoy living abroad.
Thank you. I'm sure I will.
Here's your cashier's check, sir. Will there be anything else?
Please, could you add this to your outgoing mail?
I'd be happy to.
Good day, sir.
Good day.
Mr. Stevens visited nearly a dozen banks in the Portland area that morning. All told, he blew town with better than $370,000 of Warden Norton's money. Severance pay for 19 years.
morning, Portland Daily Bugle.
All right, you can stop. Thank you. Okay. So why Shawshank Redemption? Why this movie? Why is it important? It's important because of something. Tim Robbins got an opportunity to get out of Shawshank, not by getting parole, which his good friend Andy got, Morgan Freeman, but Morgan didn't have hope. Morgan was influenced by Andy, and that is leadership. But beyond leadership, what was at the base of Andy's opportunity? What made up for Andy's opportunity, right? At the end, I'll come back to this. Talent gets you in the room. Character keeps you in the room. Talent gets you in the room. So talent is your idea. Talent is starting the business. Talent is getting to from 0 to 1. Right? Talent is 0 to 1. Peter Thiel's book, right? He talks about 0 to 1, 1 to 10, and 10 to 100. And these are real numbers. To go from 0 to $1 million in revenues is a combination of talent. And as you get to $1 million, what gets you to $1 million? Character starts to build in. So at the core of it, character is being able to repeat what talent delivered at the beginning. The people that see it through think about it long term. They suffer so many times, right? They fail so many times, but they keep at it. And what does that do? What are the essence, what are the components of that character? Is what is up here. Leadership comes down to two things, in my experience. It comes down to service to the component stakeholders, from government down to environment, customers, staff, management, and board. So service to them, right? And that service could mean many different things. We don't need to go into that. However, you will fail several times to be able to deliver that service. And if you fail several times, if you give up, right, then you never get to the end. You never get to witness what Andy witnessed. The guys have seen Shawshank Redemption. What did Andy witness? Andy tried several times to get parole. He was at Shawshank for 30 years or 40 years. In that time, he spent maybe 20 years of his time with Tim Robbins. But at the end, how did Tim get out of Shawshank? Right? Tim, how did he get out of Shawshank? So, we will answer the question of how Tim got out of Shawshank. John Maxwell says that leadership is the ability to obtain followers. Leadership is not about morality. So leadership is not about morality, right? So and we have a lot of examples. We'll use Hitler's example. Hitler was a leader. And he achieved something by his style of leadership. He may not be a moral leader. Jesus is more on the religious, moral, faith side. But leadership is essentially being able to say, this is what I intend to do, and inspire followership. So if you want to get big minds to follow you, then what do you have to do? You have to paint a picture that is very, very big. But to be able to achieve a big picture or a big dream or vision, it takes a long-term thinking. And just like the clouds, always moving, sometimes it's white and sometimes it's dark, right? You have to see through both circumstances. And that is where grit comes in. We've seen 10 pitches, excellent ideas. The guys that will be here 10 years, all great ideas, and all of them can work, but they need to evolve. I've been an entrepreneur for 14 years. We've evolved the business maybe 3 times. But at the core of it, we have not moved from being a software business to becoming a haulage company. No, we haven't done that. right? It's just like, what's his name? Tim, Andy, at Shawshank. He set a goal. He had a background. He was an investment banker, but studied something called geology. And when he was trying to get out of Shawshank, he used a spoon and a few small tools to start cracking the wall of Shawshank prison until that wall cracked, broke through. That was the video. That was the beginning of that video. And he was able to climb, walk through that hole, and fall into, what did he fall into? He fell into something, right? Before he could be free. But we'll come back to that. These are two notable figures, people that inspire a lot of us, maybe. And one of them is Nelson Mandela, who fought apartheid, was in jail for 27 years and got the reward at the end of it, being president. Not the reward, really, but he became president of South Africa and liberalized South Africa, as we know it. He is the father of modern-day South Africa. And Yakubu Gowon, who fought the Nigerian Biafran War, right? And continued and essentially served the mission of keeping Nigeria together, led that, right? And when we talk about leadership, it's about, and these two people served selflessly, right? They served selflessly with significant grit. The Nigerian war lasted 3 years, and after that, he started to rebuild the country. But even Nelson Mandela was in jail for 27 years and had an objective to unify the different races in South Africa to be free, right? And when we think about entrepreneurship, you come and have an idea, some of them fantastic ideas, right? Today, some of them will start as a social endeavor. But maybe to keep the lights on, you may need to pivot it to becoming highly profitable business, right? So that you can keep the lights on. Or maybe today it starts as a profitable business, but you start to get a whole bunch of grants and you maybe you need to pivot it to becoming a social enterprise. Being able to have that flexibility, being able to have that, being able to have your mindset set at serving for the outcome, those different stakeholders, right? And the character. At the beginning we talked about talent gets you into the room. It is the character that keeps you going, right? And Andy and Red, Morgan Freeman, and Tim Robbins. Tim Robbins got to Shawshank, met Morgan Freeman, who has spent a few years, maybe more than 10 years, and he was like, in jail, they have the cliques and all that stuff. And they found out that this guy, Tim Robbins, was a bright guy, talented guy. He was an investment banker. Got there because he was accused of murdering his wife, which he denied that he did. But he started to work for the commandant of the prison as an accountant. As an investment banker, he was brilliant. That got him into the room. Many times, he would have died. And this is how you situate your company, right? From 0 to 1 for a Terragon business, right? Was extremely difficult. Many times we died. From 1 to 10, in my experience, that part is easy, which is growing from $1 million in revenues to $10 million in revenues. That part is not very hard. Where you will see sorrow, tears, and blood is 0 to 1, you pass that. 10 to 100. Many Nigerian businesses end up around 0 to 10. Many Nigerian businesses, which are medium-sized businesses. Then you become large businesses, 10 to 100. It is, you think back, am I in service to the mission? What is the mission? The mission that I have sold to the people that have been following me, right? The mission that I have sold to my board and shareholders. The mission that I have sold to government. There are several things. The mission I have sold to my customers, right? So, and what does it come down to? It comes down to the individuals in the organization. It comes down to that. And we talk about the L5 framework, which some of us know from John Maxwell's leadership framework, which in my opinion, leadership is about service and grit, right? However, when you talk about the first stage of leadership, and why is this important? It's very important because today you start a business and it's your person, right? You tell people that this is what you want to do. The first time I went out to India, I was looking for mobile advertising technology. We went out to India. I've traveled to 5 cities, right, looking for a partner that we could work with. When the decision for my partner to work with me in 2013, 2014 was driven by essentially position and permission, which was position, we were doing similar stuff, they were further ahead, and they were more equipped. But the permission was the relationship we had built over time, and that is what led to us acquiring an Indian company in 2018, after 5 years working with them. But they wouldn't have made that decision if they did not see number 3, and number 4, which is then the production. They had seen that we had grown mobile advertising on the African continent, and we had the character, the resilience to continue to build their own team. We acquired them when they were 6 people. Today they are 40 people. So talent gets you through the door, but to keep it going, you require character. So we've seen some of that. Everyone is a leader. Everyone influences someone. You see this at the back of downfall buses and trailers when you're traveling. There's nothing about that. It's now about how do you fuse Shawshank Redemption, which is by all means a free assignment. This weekend, you can download Shawshank Redemption, juxtapose this presentation and what you find in Shawshank. I think you'll have a more rounded understanding of this submission I'm making this afternoon. So, when people sign up to work for you, right? You know, what I found talking to entrepreneurs and managers and stuff is that it's a one-way relationship and that they are doing people a favor. I recently joined the Lagos Business School as an executive in residence. And what I find is that the best way of learning is in studying. And before I can go to a classroom of business executives in something like advanced management program, I better be prepared. If I am not prepared, then, that is, I believe that every right, John Rockefeller, one of the men who made America, implies a responsibility. Every opportunity an obligation, every possession a duty. Right? Talent gets you in the room. Character keeps you going. But you cannot situate this within a vertical. You need to have a very horizontal view. And that is how the best people, the people who get to the ends of it, start very early, harnessing the power of that horizontality. Seeing that everything is a relationship. The people who will stay longest with you are the people who there's mutual respect. Thank you. So, and at the base of it, we talked about leadership, the different stages of leadership, but it comes down to the core of it. To lead a business, you need to be, first of all, be true to yourself. To thyself, be true. I've come across different people. I had one of the most brilliant software developers that Nigeria has ever seen. He lives in Berlin today. But he only works at night. But at a stage in our organization, when we became north of 100 people, one person working at night and others working during the day couldn't work for team dynamics. We had to let him go. Right? So it comes down to this guy, can he build a company? If he continues working at night, he can never evolve from being a software developer to becoming an entrepreneur. I have built a pure software business. There's nothing that we do that is tech-enabled or whatever. Everything we do is pure software. I have built that sort of company without being able to write a line of code. I have built it because people have signed up to follow me. Leadership. So, the mark of a leader is priorities, to think and to work according to what is most important, right? We don't have a lot of time to go into this detail. And so the secret of great performance, right? I think this is also important. So let's spend 1 minute on this. I think that when we decided to acquire a business in India, it took us 2 years to do it. Right now, we've been negotiating with a business in East Africa. It's going to be a year around this time. You should not be afraid of failure in every move you make. What is most important is the experience, learn from it, and apply character to it. When you repeat it a few times, you will get it right. Trust me, it works. So these are some examples. George Danzig has the world record for solving the toughest mathematical equation in the world. He was a research student, a PhD student at UC Berkeley. But he maybe wasn't very true to himself or didn't have a very high sense of self-awareness. So he was stabbing classes, right? But he has the right mindset around learning. George Danzig got into the PhD class and saw an assignment on the board. And he didn't know that it was an impossible assignment, that the class had tried to do it and they never solved it. George Danzig took that assignment, didn't come to class for a few weeks, but solved that equation. And today holds the world record for it. What sort of mindset does Danzig have? Right? Somebody that needs to come to class. But talent got him into the room. There's some level of character in there, which I think is critical for entrepreneurship. And we round it up by the guy we all know very well, Michael Jordan. I have missed more than 9,000 shots. We know this, right? We know this phrase. In my career, I have lost almost 300 games, 26 times I have trusted to take the game, winning shot, blah, blah, blah. You know, I have failed, and that is why I succeed. That's what it comes down to. So, this is my short story. And to all aspiring entrepreneurs, it's hard, it's tough, but whatever you do, don't die.